Hey ladies and gentlemen, Stephen here from Redolessence. Welcome back to another video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I sincerely do appreciate it. I hope you're staying safe and well. And in today's episode, I'm going to be going over 6 fragrances that my wife absolutely loves wearing in the summertime, or fragrances that she looks forward to wearing this summer. So make sure to stay tuned. So once again, just to clarify, these are fragrances that are worn by my wife. There are actually maybe 1 or 2 in here that I wouldn't mind wearing myself, but I'll make sure that I let you know which ones those are once I get to them. But some of these fragrances are recent acquisitions, maybe as early as like a month ago, maybe a year ago. And some of these I've had in my collection for many, many years, and we're actually on like the 2nd or 3rd bottle of, and I'll make sure to let you know what fragrances those are as well. But of course, my wife also has a wardrobe depending on what season she's wearing fragrances in. And so she has her winter fragrances, her Santal 33s, and some of the heavier fragrances in her collection. And then she also has her spring and summer fragrances. And I would say that these fragrances definitely fall within that category. So without further ado, let's get started, and I'll let you know what they are, and I'll also let you know what I think about them as well. So the first fragrance that I want to talk about in this list is a fragrance that came out a very, very long time ago, if I can be honest. And I actually purchased this fragrance for my mother. Now, my wife, obviously, she was looking at my collection and she picked this one up. She smelled it off the atomizer and she goes, "Oh, this smells really good." And she sort of stole it, for lack of a better word. But she has been wearing it for the past few years now. And I think she's almost done with the bottle, if I'm not mistaken. I need to shine a light through it to see how much is left. But this is I Love New York for Mothers by Bond Number 9. And this one has a very clean, white floral sort of a vibe. She also really likes Central Park West, I believe that's the name of it, both of which I actually purchased, and they were quite pricey purchases because I bought them from the boutique on 9 Bond Street. And this one, I love the way that it just comes across smelling rather clean, very floral, but not in an overly strong sort of a way. It just smells floral, adding to that cleanliness that you get from this fragrance. It's a really smooth composition. I enjoy smelling it on my wife. It's fairly linear. It's not overcomplicated, but there's also beauty in the simplicity. And so this is one of the fragrances that my wife loves wearing right around this time of the year. She thinks, and I think as well, that it's super appropriate for the spring and the summertime. The next fragrance on this list is another fragrance that my wife said she's going to be looking forward to wearing this summertime. And this is a recent acquisition. And so this isn't a fragrance that she's necessarily worn a lot of. I think she's only worn this one like twice or something like that. But the funny thing behind this one and the story that's associated with this one is several years ago, we went to the Macy's in our local mall and we smelled a fragrance. It was actually Chance, I think it was Chance Eau Tendre by Chanel. And my wife goes, "Wow, this one smells really good." She sprayed it on her skin. We walked around the mall and she was smelling it throughout the day. And she goes, "I think I want to buy this," or what she meant was, "I think you should buy this for me." And, we kind of just forgot to buy it. And she smelled this fragrance a few days ago and she says, "This one smells really, really good. It kind of reminds me of that one time we went to Macy's and what was that fragrance that I was sampling?" And immediately I knew what fragrance she was talking about. And the fragrance is Bouquet de Hongrie by BDK. Now, I don't think this one smells ultra similar to Chanel's Chance. I know there's a slight similarity in there, but all in all, I think the quality in this one is superior. The longevity on this one is superior as well. My wife actually put it on in the morning, later in the evening, after we grilled, after we spent time in the backyard. I was still able to smell this on her. So really, really good longevity, and it is highly concentrated. And I just love the way that this fragrance smells on her. It's kind of along the same family of this fragrance by Bond Number 9. It's in that same genre, but it's a really, really likable scent. Very clean, very professional smelling, but also a little bit flirtatious as well. So I really like this one. Bouquet de Hongrie by BDK. The next fragrance on this list is a fragrance that I purchased, I think it was about 2 months ago or something like that. It was either late February or early March. I was visiting Perfumology and I smelled this one and I said, "You know what? I think that this would be one that my wife would really, really enjoy." And I felt the need to make it up to her because I had a meeting and the meeting lasted about 3 hours and she was just sort of cooped up in the hotel room by herself. So I was like, okay, this is my way of sort of apologizing to her. And the reason why I picked this one is because it kind of reminds me of another fragrance that she absolutely loves, absolutely adores. And I said, you know what? I think that similarity alone is going to make her really, really enjoy this one. And I think that's one thing that you're seeing is, you know, throughout the course of this video, I'm going to be comparing some of these fragrances to other fragrances. And that doesn't necessarily suggest that they're the same or that they're ultra similar. It's just that they give across a similar vibe. Well, this next one by Nasomato is called Narcotic Venus. And this one reminds me a lot of a Michael Kors fragrance that my wife wears. And one day we actually went into the city, we visited the Michael Kors boutique, and she actually purchased, or I bought for her, like all of the Michael Kors flankers. There's one called like Gold Rose or something like that. And this one really does remind me of Michael Kors for her. But the one thing that you should probably know, if you don't already know about Nasomato fragrances, is that the longevity is superior on them. They will last such a long time. They're extrait de parfum concentration. And this is one where, despite the fact that there's only a little bit missing from the bottle, she's actually worn a lot of this because every time she puts it on, I think she limits herself to like 2 sprays or something like that. But it's interesting. I brought it back to the hotel room and I said, hey, I got a gift for you. She said, yeah, you got a gift for me. I think it cost me like $180 or something like that. And then as soon as she smelled it, she goes, oh yeah, this is good. And then it was, she didn't mention the similarity to Michael Kors, but I'm sure that it's that sort of subconscious thing like, oh, I kind of smelled something like this before. And it reminds me of another perfume that I happen to love significantly. And so there's that. The number 3 fragrance on this list that my wife actually wore a lot of last summer is a fragrance that we purchased sometime late August. So my wife and I went on a cruise, a Carnival cruise out of Miami, Florida. The date was August 24th when it departed. And we bought this at one of the ports of call, which was actually the Bahamas. And my wife loves wearing this one now. I think it's the simplest one. In my opinion, I think it's probably the most boring one of all the fragrances in this list. All the other ones are actually really interesting, really exciting. They smell fantastic to my nose, but this one is kind of ho-hum. But this one by Moschino, it's called Moschino Pink. This is an eau de toilette, so the longevity on it is not spectacular as well. And maybe that's one of the reasons why she wore so much of it, really trying to give her that bit of oomph that it's lacking. But, you know, it's a very pleasant scent. It's just a very clean, soapy, floral sort of a fragrance with a subtle touch of a fruitiness somewhere in there. There's nothing really spectacular about it. I actually have the men's version. I think the men's version is pretty cool. Again, it's a very safe fragrance, but, you know, it's not one that's noteworthy. It's not one that I think, you know, sets a benchmark of any kind. And so I wore it maybe just a few times and then I put it on the shelf and forgot about it ever since. But hey, the bottle design is pretty kitschy. I think some people are going to be drawn to it for that reason alone. So there's that. But she really enjoys wearing this one. I think whenever she's looking for something that's rather simple, rather plain and linear, not much thought needs to go into it, she definitely reaches for Moschino Pink. The next fragrance on this list is a fragrance that we've been wearing for a very, very long time. And I say we because I love the way that this fragrance smells as well. I don't often do a full wearing of it, but I'll spray it on my skin and I'll just smell it throughout the day just to sort of remind myself what it smells like. I think it's a masterfully put together fragrance, and it's one that has been around for quite some time now. And this one by Dolce & Gabbana is called Light Blue. And this is my wife's 3rd bottle of it. And she initially discovered this one several years ago. We were visiting our local mall, and there's this perfume kiosk that was situated under one of the escalators. And whenever we would make our way to, you know, going up to the 2nd floor, we would stop by this perfume kiosk just to see what deals they have that week. And I recall seeing this one there, and I guess it was right around this time of the year. It was starting to get a bit warm out. And I said, you know what, babe, this is one that you should try. And she smelled it initially. She fell in love with it right away. And this is one that she's been wearing ever since. And like I said, this is probably her 3rd bottle or something like that. And right around the time when it gets to be this full, or this empty, I should say, I always buy her a new one. So I've kind of reminded myself that I need to buy a new one for her, but also for me because I love the way that it smells on her. And the number 1 fragrance on this list, it's a fragrance that my wife has been enjoying for many, many years now. I purchased several bottles of this. I believe this is either my second or third bottle. I think it might be my second bottle of it. And both of the bottles that I own are, I guess, one of the older batches. And whenever we're talking about batches, I think a lot of us know we're probably talking about a Creed fragrance or something like that, right? Can you guys guess what my wife's favorite Creed fragrance is for the summertime? And I think it's one of everybody's favorite Creed fragrances for the summertime. And truth be told, you know, when we're talking about this fragrance, I also purchased Aqua Fiorentina by Creed for my wife, which a lot of people compare to Light Blue for her. And it's a fragrance that, listen, I think it's, I don't want to say better quality, but it smells a bit more alive, a bit more robust than Light Blue for her. And it's a fragrance that my wife actually wore on our wedding day, and she likes to reserve it for special occasions. So as much as I encourage her to wear it more, and I'm like, what are you waiting for? Just wear it whenever you want. I think there's just something about the memories, and she doesn't want to cloud or taint the memories of our marriage. She, you know, it's a very, very positive time for us, and so she doesn't want to wear it when she's just going to work and being stressed out or anything like that. But the number one fragrance is Virgin Island Water by Creed. We both wear a lot of this. She actually, you know, almost got a little upset with me the other day. Not really, but it's funny. I wore this about 4 days ago, and my wife says to me, you know, she was in the bedroom, I was in the hallway, and I walked through the hallway, and I guess I left my sillage in the hallway. And she gets out of the bedroom and she says, "Are you wearing Virgin Island Water?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am." She goes, "Are you wearing my Virgin Island Water?" Because she knows we have 2 bottles of it. And this is the only one that I have in my possession at the moment. And I was like, "Yeah, I am." She goes, "Don't wear it. I want to wear it." And so she gets kind of greedy when it comes to her favorite fragrances, but we both love this one. She loves it for several different reasons. It's perfect for the summertime. It has coconut in here, which is one of her favorite notes in fragrances. It kind of smells like a piña colada. She's worn it in previous summers, and so she has very fond memories attached to it. And so, you know, these have been 6 fragrances that my wife loves wearing in the summertime. And some of them, like I said, this one especially, but also this one. So these 2, she's actually looking forward to wearing this summer. And I know we have a lot of pink fragrances on this list, but there's some that she has been wearing summer after summer. And obviously there are some, a couple at least, literally, that she looks forward to wearing in the summer. She hasn't worn in the summer yet, but she can also conclude that they would be really good fragrances to be worn in the summertime. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. These have been my wife's 6 fragrances that she absolutely either loves wearing in the summertime or she looks forward to wearing in the summertime, which is only about a month away. That's pretty scary. 2020 is going by rather quickly, especially when you're sitting at home and doing nothing, right? So there you have it. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you did take something of value from this video, I would really appreciate it if you could support this channel by clicking on that red button in the corner. And please don't forget to also click on the neighboring notification bell. This way, whenever I do upload future fragrance related content, it'll get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future uploads. And of course, that includes top 6 or top 10 videos like this, giveaways, reviews, unboxings, special guests, interviews, and a whole lot more. Thanks again for watching. I love you all. See you next time. Bye.